Hello. Thank you for coming to Mental Health Chess Tutorial. My name is Mr. Alan McQueen, librarian at Xavier Library, and I will be the one leading it. Why we are learning chess is because of the valuable life lessons you can get from playing the game. Chess teaches strategy, critical thinking, logic, and consequences, cause and effect. These are important life lessons to know as you go on through your educational and professional careers. Applying these skills can help you be successful in your endeavors. So now we will learn about the game of chess. A few quick points before we start the game. When setting up your board, the white square will always be on the right corner. You can remember this by white on right. Also, the white pieces always go first. If you are not playing traditional white versus black chess, the lighter color will go first. Now to set up the board. First, we will set up the pawns. These are your first line of defense. They go across your second row as such. And the way your pawn moves is straightforward. On its first move, it can move one square or it can move two squares. Every move after that, it has to move one square. So, while you are able to move two squares and then one square for 3 total squares in 2 moves, what you cannot do is move one square and then 2 squares. It is the same total squares in the same number of moves, but you can only move 2 squares on your first move. And as I said, the pawn can only move straight forward. That is until it becomes time to take a piece. A pawn cannot take a piece that is directly in front of it. Instead, it takes a piece by moving diagonal into the piece's square. That is the only time the pawn does not move straight forward. If you are able to get your pawn to the other end of the board, you can turn it into one of your other backline pieces, but not the king. Next, we will look at your rooks. Your rooks go on the corners on their back row. The way the rook moves is straight lines, up, down, side to side. The rook takes a piece by entering the square, and now the piece is gone. The rook is not able to jump pieces, so therefore you have to make room for it in order for it to move. Next, we will look at the knight. The knight is a complicated piece in its movement, so we will focus on that later. The bishop. Skipping a space for your knights, we will then put down the bishops. The bishop moves diagonally. Like the rook, it cannot jump a space, it cannot jump a piece, so you must create an opening for it so that it can move out. Your bishop on the black square will always remain on the black square. Your bishop on the white square will always remain on the white square. And again, takes a piece simply by entering that piece's square. The queen. The queen is a very important piece. It is a very powerful piece. Queen goes right next to the bishop on her own color. So the white queen will go on the white square, the black queen will go on the black square, directly across from each other. And the queen moves like both the rook and the bishop. Again, it cannot jump a piece, so you have to find a way to open for it to come out. It can then move diagonally, across, or up and down. And once again, you take a piece just by entering into the square. your king. The king is the most powerful piece. The king is the most important piece. The object of the game of chess is to capture your opponent's king while protecting your own. The king goes in the square next to the queen. The king moves very basically one square in any direction. Again, this is a piece that cannot jump a piece. And while the king is able to take another piece, what it cannot do is put itself into a position where a piece can take him. Now, we will look at the knights. We will put them into the open squares that we have left for them. And the knight moves a total of 3 squares in 2 different directions. Some people like to say it moves as an L or as a 7. If this helps you remember, feel free. So as you can see, it moves. It is able to jump pieces, so it can move 1 square, 2 square, and then 1 square into another direction. It can also move 1 square and then 2 squares. It is the same square that it landed in previously, only a different route. Now I will demonstrate some of the few ways the knight can move across the board. And as you can see, whatever square your knight is on at the beginning of the move, it will land on the opposite color when it's finished. That is the setup for how you set up your chessboard. Now, the game of chess can be very complicated. As I said, it is based on strategy, critical thinking, and reasoning. For beginning chess players, trying to play with all the pieces while still trying to learn these skills can be quite confusing. So I'd like to show you a simple game that can help you learn these skills with just a few pieces. Having 2 pawns at the very bottom of the board, then placing your 2 opponent pawns on the other side of the board. The object of this game is to get one of your pawns to the other side while your opponent tries to get his pawn to your side. Because of the way the pawns move, this game has ended in a draw. So if you would like to learn more about the strategies of chess without having to remember how all the pieces move at the beginning, play this game and it will help you learn. Thank you for viewing today's chess tutorial. If you have any questions about how to play, feel free to email me at amcqueen, AMCQUEEN @talladega.edu. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions, as well as provide the answers at the next chess tutorial. Next time, we will focus on different strategies, how the pieces move in combination with each other, and the teamwork that takes. Thank you.